Good day. CJ is first on the list today, although Sister Jeannie is here already. Welcome. It is Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. And thank you for coming. Greetings, everyone. Hello, Denise. How are you? Good to see you. She's a trooper every day, just like CJ, Sister Jeannie. CW, how you doing? And others. Andrew, hello. The Stevenson family. There's so many that I appreciate your visits and your communications. So I'm not going to comment too much today on anymore with that video issue. It seems that those who can ascend or make the step towards the Trinitarian Theophany will, and now is the time to do it. It does feel like just there seems like there's drastic things in the air, and with finances and war and weather. Don't know how much longer things can continue in this vein, because chaos will always destroy itself, and then we can look forward to that peace. However, we do want to offer our sufferings up for those souls in purgatory and for others who may not know yet. All right, I've got a little bit of a long reading with St. John of the Cross. I'm going to get started right away on it. So let's go. In nomine Dei, Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Trinitarian Theophany, and in Catholic contemplation humbly venerate the divine family. Most holy and venerable Trinitarian Theophany, one divine family, I believe that thou art here present. I venerate thee with the deepest humility. I render to thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to thee. Homage. O Trinitarian Theophany, relying on thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain pardon of my sins, the help of thy grace, and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et Dei Matronam Nostrae. O Trinitarian Theophany, I love thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of thee, and I forgive all who have injured me, and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Trinitarian Theophany for the many graces that we receive, and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to heaven. O Trinitarian Theophany, I most humbly thank thee for all the favors thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in thy service. I consecrate to thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by thy love, or that would not tend to thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good, and let us beg of the Trinitarian Theophany the graces which are necessary to us. O Trinitarian Theophany, thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of thy grace. Deny me not thy grace, O Trinitarian Theophany, proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which thou forbiddest, to practice the good which thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please thee to send me. O Dei Matronam Nostrae, I place myself under thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress and my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Dea matronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell. But most of all because they offend thee, O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Dea matronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. So one thing I did want to mention was, if you don't have, you should obtain and get and frame the last vision of Sister Lucia, which I have up there on the wall. That is where we get our strength for the belief that the Trinitarian Theophany consists of Dea matronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. And there must have been something to that, because Sister Lucia ended up being killed, and a substitute put in her place. And they did a rather poor job of replacing her, because there's quite a bit of difference between the two, as would be the case. So if you're not aware of that, look into, I think it's Dr. Chernowski. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, but he has extensive information on the proofs of the imposter Lucy. You mean you have to put all these clues together and these events together in order to get to where you can begin to see how the wool has been pulled over so many eyes. St. John of the Cross, we continue with, in darkness and in secret I crept forth. At other times, this contradiction of the devil takes place when the Trinitarian Theophany bestows mercies on the soul through the heavenly guide each one of us has. Okay, and I'm going to quickly clarify for anybody new. We don't use the word angel, because L is as CW posted, there's a language issue here, and EL is a demon from the Old Testament. Okay, and so when you add that to the end of any word, okay, that means you put that in that family. Okay, so we don't use good and bad angels. I called them the heavenly guides. So back to God, the Trinitarian Theophany bestows mercies on the soul through the heavenly guides. For these sometimes the devil succeeds in perceiving, for God, for the Trinitarian Theophany, doth as a rule allow them to be discerned by the adversary. First, so that the Trinitarian Theophany may work the utmost against them in accordance with the scales of justice, that therefore the devil may not allege his right, saying that he is given no opportunity to make conquest of the soul. And so it is fitting that the Trinitarian Theophany should clear the lists, so that the two combatants may meet on more equal terms, to wit, the heavenly guide and the bad angel in their struggle for the soul, so that the victory may be more notorious and glorious, and the soul victorious and faithful in temptation, be more signally rewarded. Here, it is proper to note that this is the reason why sometimes in this order, which the Trinitarian Theophany sets self in self's conduct of the soul, the Trinitarian Theophany gives the devil leave to trouble and to tempt her, like as when she receives visions through the heavenly guide. The Trinitarian Theophany also allows the bad angel to put before her false visions of the self-same kind, after sort, that if the soul be not wary, so alike are they in seeming, she may easily be deceived, as many have been in this way. Okay? This is very important, especially at these times. So many people are receiving visions who have no idea that they're being deceived. And they think everything is coming from God. It's the evil trickery. Nor does Satan content himself with imitating this sort of corporal visions alone, but also adventures on the spiritual communications which come through the heavenly guides, if he chances to hold them. Although these, as they are without shape or form, for it is the nature of spirit to be formless, he cannot counterfeit and shape as he can the others, which appear under a certain phantasm or material image. And so that he may least cast doubt upon them, just in the same way as they visit the soul, he shews her best he can, his fearsome spirit, at such time as the heavenly guide is about to impart to her some soulful contemplation, with a certain horror-stricken and spiritual soulful perturbation at times most grievous to her. And then the soul may sometimes wrest herself away quickly from his influence, the devil, before there is time for the said horror of the evil spirit to imprint itself upon her. And she folds herself within herself, being mercifully favored thereto by the soulful favor that the heavenly guide then bestows upon her. At other times, the Trinitarian Theophany permits this perturbation and horror to last some time. I just had a thought real quick, and before I forget, maybe somebody can research this. I had heard somebody stated that Saint Joan of Arc received a message from the Trinitarian Theophany in the voice of a woman. Okay, and they said that it was a voice from God and that it was a woman. I'd like to get as much information about that as we could. That would be interesting. At other times, the Trinitarian Theophany permits this perturbation and horror to last some time, which to her is infinitely more grievous than any torment of this life could be, and the memory thereof cleaves to her afterwards, which is enough to fill her with intense woe. All this we have said passes within the soul, although she can neither produce nor dissipate this phantom or impression. But it must be here to observe that when God, the Trinitarian Theophany, permits the devil thus to afflict and constrict the soul with spiritual horror, the Trinitarian Theophany does so to purify and dispose her of this spiritual vigil for some great festival and soulful favor, which the Trinitarian Theophany, who never mortifies save to give life, nor humbles save to exalt, wills to bestow upon her. The which takes place soon after, for the soul, conformably to the dark purgation she has gone through, rejoices in the sweet and tender, soulful contemplation, at times so sublime as to transcend all speech. That we have said is to be understood in respect of God's, the Trinitarian Theophany's visits to the soul by means of the heavenly guide, at which season she walks not with the same absolute safety, as has been said, nor yet so surrounded and concealed by darkness and her disguise, that the enemy may not chance upon her somewhat. But when the Trinitarian Theophany of the Trinitarian Theophany's own motion visits her, then the said line is indeed verified. For in total darkness and concealment from the enemy doth she receive the soulful favors of the Trinitarian Theophany. The reason is because of The reason is because the Trinitarian Theophany is supreme and dwells within the soul, where no angel nor devil may draw nigh to hear what passes, nor know the intimate and secret converse which therein passes betwixt herself and the Trinitarian Theophany. For these divine communications, for as much as the Trinitarian Theophany makes them of their own motion, are absolutely divine and sovereign, and are, as it were, substantial touches of divine union between the soul and the Trinitarian Theophany, in one of which, since this is the most supreme grade of prayer there is, the soul receives greater benefit than in all the rest. Wherefore, after the Trinitarian Theophany had showered on her many such for which she had sung aloud his praises, the Trinitarian Theophany's praises, still not being satisfied, she pleads with the divine for more touches, showing us by this that it was the communication which the Trinitarian Theophany bestowed her, of the Trinitarian Theophany's own free will, in solitude, alone on the outskirts, and in darkness from all creatures. The which happens when the soul at last, with freedom of soul, the sensitive part being powerless to hinder, nor the devil using it as an instrument to oppose, enjoys these treasures in sweetness and infinite peace. For then the devil shall not wax bold against her, for he cannot reach her, nor has he power to draw nigh to hear these divine whispers in the substance of the soul, by her amorous conjunction with the substance of the Trinitarian Theophany. To this prize none attain save by searching purgation and nakedness, and a soulful hiding place from everything that is creature, to which is in darkness, in which hiding place the soul conforms herself in the union with the Trinitarian Theophany through love. And therefore she raises up her voice and gives utterance to her gladness in the words of the said line, quote, in darkness and in hiding. When it happens that these mercies are bestowed upon the soul in hiding, which is on the soul alone, in certain of them the soul is wont to see herself, how it is, she knows not, so far away and remote from, in respect to the higher part from the lower, that she recognizes in herself two personalities, so distinct the one from the other as to lead her to believe that the one has no connection with the other, as it seems to her that is exceedingly remote and severed from the one. And in truth, after a certain fashion, so it is. For in respect of the operation that it then accomplishes, which is entirely soulful, it has no communication with the sensitive part. After this fashion doth the soul proceed to make herself entirely soulful, and in this hiding place, this den, this refuge of unitive contemplation, the passions and soulful appetites are finally, each after its own fashion, made an end of in a most superlative degree. And so, speaking of the higher portion of the soul, the last line goes on to say, and that's where we'll stop for today. But I will tell you, the last line is, wherein is brought to a close the exposition of the second song, my house being now at rest. My house being now at rest. Try not to comprehend all of that. Take a line or something that you remember, that your soul remembers, and just contemplate that. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apote. Oremus. O Trinitarian Theophany, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with thee, one God, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, quoque apote. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum hoc immaculatum hostiam, quam ego indignus famulus tuus offenditibi Deum meum vivum et verum, pro innumerabilibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligentis meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus, sera pro omnibus fidelibus, catalocorum vivis aquae de fonctis ut mihi et idis proficiet ad salutem. Deum, qui humanae substantiae dignitatem mirabilitu condigisti, et mirabilius refamasti danubis perivivis atquae et vini mysterium, eius divinitatis esse consortes, qui humanitatis nostrae fieri dignatis est pateceps, Deum Iesum Christum Filium, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem, salutaris tuum deprecantes clementium, ut conspecto divinae majestatis tuae, pro nostra totius mundi salute, cum adore suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu humiditatis et in animo contrito suscipiam orate Deum Iesum Christum, et sacrificium nostrum in conspectu tu hodie, uplaciat tibi Deum matronam nostrae et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni sanctificator. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificit oblata prosequendo, et accepere hoc sacrificium tuo sancto nomini praeparatum. Suscipe, Sancta Trinitam, hanc oblationem quam tibi ferimus a memoriam passionis, resurrectionis et ascensionis, Deum Iesum Christum, et in honorem Deum matronam nostrae, et a Papa Pete Sanctorum et Istorum et Omnium Sanctorum, ut idis proficiet ad honorem nobis audem ad salutem, et idi pro nobis intercedere dignentur in caelis, quorum memoriam agimus in Teidis, per innum Christum Deum nostrum. Orate, ut meum ac vestrum sacrificium acceptabile fiat ab Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipiat Deum Iesum Christum sacrificium de manibus tuis et laudem, et gloriam nomini sui ad utilitatem quoque nostram totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum vobiscum, quoque apote, sursum corda habemus a Deum, gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Te igitur clementissime Mater et Pater, Deum Matram nostrae et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum per Deum Iesum Christum Filium Tuum Deum nostrae, supplices rogamus ac petimus, uti accepta habeas, et sanctificas, haec sanctam sacrificium illibata. In primis quae tibi ferimus, pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare, custodiri, adonare, et regere, digneris tot orbiterarum atque catholicae. Memento Deum famulorum tuorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We pray for Katie, Gage, Mindy, Clarette, Mark Jr., Casey, Maria Josephina Mose, Henry, Barbara, and Benedict Santa Croce, Mr. Nobody, Amble Tink, the Cantu and Duarte families, Jenna, Lena, Lori, Aaron and family, Alex Tafur, John Kyle, Maria and the Line River family, the Dosco, Nye, Tafur, Began, and Wolf families. Pray for Mr. Nobody to receive the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sede Vacantis Catholic Council office at Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, child abuse, any kind of human trafficking, anywhere, place, or time. Pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, medium of exchange, with no usury and penalties for deceit. We pray for courageous Catholic men to step forward as leaders of this Catholic society. We ask that all quote-unquote gay marriage be banned, that all pornography in the OnlyFans platform be stopped immediately and forever, and the bringing back of the tenets of natural law. We ask also that you destroy the satanic document of the Vatican, their law, which is the Jewish Talmud. We ask that you destroy Rome and the Vatican and transfer the authority, or recognize the authority of that transfer of the Catholic Church to Fatima, Portugal. We ask you to continue to block the passage of any so-called pandemic treaty by the WHO, which again is based on lies and aimed at removing the divine family's children's freedom to move and travel. That people recognize that what they see on TV and hear on TV is probably not true. We also ask you to save or transfer the souls from under the dominion of any Jew or Freemason, especially those that give support to Israel. And we pray for wisdom on how to prepare our families in the physical world through growing natural foods and products, and to out those who are putting items in food that are for nefarious reasons. All this we ask in accordance with the Trinitarian Theophany's holy and divine will. Et omnium circumstantium quorum tibi fides cognita est nota devotio, pro quibus tibi afferimus, vel qui tibi offro hoc sacrificium laudis, pro se suis omnibus, pro redemptione animarum suarum, pro spe salutis et equanimitatis suae, tibi que redunt vota sua, aeterno Deum vivo et vero, communicantes et memoriam venerantes, imprimis gloriosae semper Dei maternam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et begetorum martyrium tuorum, Papae Sancti Petri, et Sancti Luci, et Sancti Jacinta, et Sancti Francisco, et Sancti Juan Diego, et omnium sanctorum, tuorum quorum meritis, precibusque, concedas, ut in omnibus protectiones tuae, moniam auxilio pediam Christum Deum nostrum. Quam oblatione ut Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus, consecratum acceptabilem quae facere digneris ut nobis corpum, et sanguinem fiat didictissimi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum, qui pridie quam pateretur, accepit panem in sancta sacco venerabilis manus suas, et elevatis oculis in caelum ad te Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, suum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens, consecravit, fregit, dedique luminis sui dicens accipite, et mandocate ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simini modo postquam ceremonia est, accipiens et hunc praeclarum, calicem in sancta sacco venerabilis manus suas, et in tibi gratias agens Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, consecravit, dedique luminis sui dicens accipite et bibite exe omnes. Hic est enim calix sanguinis mei mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissione peccatorum, haec quotescumque feceritis in memum facetis. Donde et memores Deum nos servitui, sed plebs tua sancta, eiustem Christum filium tuum Deum nostrae, tam beatae passiones nec non et nefarious resurrectiones, sed et in caelos gloriosae ascensiones afferimus praeclare majestate tuae de tuis dones actatis, supra quae propitio ac sereno vutur respicere digneris. Supplices te rogamus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum ibi haec perpet manus tuum ut quod ex hoc altaris participationis sacrosanctum Deum Filium tuum corpus et sanguinem subsedimus omni benedictione caelestia gratia Dei per amor. Corpus et sanguinem subsedimus omni benedictione gratia per amor. Petiendum Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for those who have died. We especially pray for John Nasser, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibum in Christum quis gentibum locum refugere lucis et pacis ut indulgeas deprecamur petiendum Christum Deum nostrum, per quem haec omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, vivicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est tibi Deum Autorem omnipotenti in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Deum matronam nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum. Deum matronam nostrae, matram Deum Iesum Christum, misericordia nobis, peccatoribus nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos, quaesimus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, ab omnibus malis, praeteritis, praesentibus et futuris, et intercedente, beata et gloriosa, semper Deum matronam nostrae, cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis, da propitius pacem in diebus nostris, ut opie misericordiae tuae aduiti et peccato, simus semper liberi et ab omni perturbatione securi. Petiendum Deum nostrum Iesum Christum Filium tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum Iesum Christum sit semper vobiscum et quoque apud te. Haec commixtio et consecratio corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum, fiat accipientibus nobis in ad salutem aeternam. Pax tecum et quoque apud te. Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum matronam nostrae, qua operante Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuam unum vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacrosanctum corpus et sanguinum tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis, et universis malis, et fac me tui semper inharare mandatis, et atinumquam separare permittas, qui cum eodem Deum matronam nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, vivis et regnam aeternam. Perceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego indignus sumere praesumo, non mihi proveniat in judicium et condemnationem, sed pro tua pietate prosit mihi ad mentis et corporis, et ad medelam, percipiendam qui vivis et regnas, cum Deum matronam nostrae in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem caelestim accipim in nomen Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Dea matronam nostrae non sundinius, ut disutete meis in tanto de verbo et in aeternam mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sundinius, ut disutete meis in tanto de verbo et in aeternam mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sundinius, ut disutete meis in tanto de verbo et in aeternam mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Quid retribuam Deum Iesum Christum pro omnibus quae retribuit mihi, calicem saitaris accipiem et nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum immocabo. Laudantium vocabo Deum matronam nostrae et ab inimicis meis avusero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima meam. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet animam tuum. Quod oris subsumus Deum Iesum Christum puramente capiamus et demunere temporali, fiat nobis remedium sempiternam. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum quod subsit sanguis quem portavi ad haereat visceribus meis et praesta, ut in me non remaniat scelerum macula quem pura et sancta reficienut sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apote, oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants in him, as we beseech thee, O Trinitarian Theophany, that thou mayest free them from all sins, and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apote, ite mis est. Deum gratia. placet tibi sancta Trinitam obsequim servitutis mei ai, et praesta ut sacra fecium cor oculis tuae maestatis igninus obturi tibis et acceptabile, mihi quet omnibus proquibus irut obtuli, sit te miserante propitiabe per Christum Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, Matronam et Filium et Spiritum Sanctum, Deum Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gratias. O Trinitarian Theophany, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most Holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Iesum Christum present here, in reparation for the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which he himself is offended, and through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and immaculate heart of Deum Matronam Nostrae, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Deum Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. So let us not be lazy Catholics, and let us get out there and pray. Pray the Rosary 150. Study the website for days, weeks, months before you make a judgment. Okay? Discern and be humble. How can that be of Satan? I have no idea. It seems pretty logical to me. Please go and sanctify all those who you meet, and we will see you tomorrow at the same time. Have a great day.